Good afternoon, everybody. The warmth of that reception makes me feel really quite shy and humble. Not really. Welcome to Kent. Welcome to Thanet. Welcome to one of the most Eurosceptic counties in the whole of this country. When I hear the experts telling us that perhaps at the general election, UKIP might win 4 or 5 seats in Parliament, well, let me tell you, we are serious challengers to win 4 or 5 seats in this county alone. Now, over the course of the last 6 or 7 weeks, there's been some considerable speculation as to my whereabouts, because I've not been playing quite the same game as the other party leaders, who I have to say I think are beginning to bore the great British public to death with new pronouncements every day. There's been a lot of speculation about where have I been, why have I not been seen on the television all the time, why have I not been out there like the others making an endless series of promises that they of course don't ever intend to keep. Well, I'll tell you where I've been, and in fact my absence from the Westminster scene has even led our opponents to spread some really quite malicious and unpleasant speculation about my health. And it's said that I'm seriously ill, and that's why I've not been seen. Well, can I know this will disappoint my opponents, but can I please tell everybody now and make it clear that rumours of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Now, I'll tell you where I've been for the last 6 or 7 weeks. I've been here in Thanet, working with an active local branch, working with people who aren't just working with me and trying to help me get elected in this constituency and Piers Woshoke in the North Thanet constituency, but actually working with a branch that is going to fight all 56 seats on Thanet District Council with the intention of taking control of that council too. That's what I think. That's where I've been, and we've done a series of public meetings, we've made a lot of phone calls, we've knocked on a lot of doors, and I know that many in the media have been speculating that, of course, I was going to do very badly as the candidate for South Thanet. Well, there was an opinion poll that came out overnight, and did you see the opinion poll overnight? Good. Well, that opinion poll shows I don't know whether Tim Montgomery of the Times is here with us today, but he predicted yesterday in the Times that I would lose this constituency badly. Well, there it is, Mr. Montgomery. We're on our way to winning this seat. Now, I've just come back from a short trip to the States, and there's a lot we can learn as a party from American campaigning techniques. Indeed, many of those techniques we used in the Rochester by-election to help us to build data, to help us to campaign more effectively and better. But there is one aspect of American politics which I have to say I find pretty repugnant, and it's a form of politics that clearly the Conservative Party have gone for by taking on the Washington guru, Jim Messina, and the Labour Party have gone for the same trick by taking on David Axelrod. And that is why what you've seen since January 2nd is the beginning not just of the longest election campaign in history, but the most negative election campaign in history. And I'm not a supporter of Ed Miliband in any way at all, but it seems to me the personal attacks that are being lumped on him and then in turn back on Cameron and of course everybody attacking me, but then I'm used to that. But it seems to me that this is not the kind of politics that this country wants or needs. What the people of this country want is some politics of hope, some politics of inspiration, some politics that says things could be better. Following on a bit from what Patrick Flynn just said, what we as a party have got to do when I'm attacked, when our parliamentary candidates are attacked, when our local election candidates are attacked, is frankly, folks, what we've got to do is ignore it, turn the other cheek, and get on telling the voters what we stand for. That is our job. Can I ask those in the audience that are standing as candidates for us in the general election or the local elections, would you please stand up? Applause, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I thank you. All of you have put your heads over the parapet. All of you will receive abuse from the neighbours, the likes of which you'd never imagine. But all of you will also find that actually out there, amongst the good, ordinary, decent men and women of this country, there is a growing level of support for the People's Army and a belief that we are the only people with the courage of our convictions to stand up against an establishment that has served this country so badly, and I salute every single one of you for having courage to do this. Everything about our campaign is going to be positive. And it's going to be positive because we believe in Britain, don't we? And we're the only party pushing out the positive message that only by divorcing ourselves amicably from political union with Europe can this country get back its democracy, its birthright, and its self-respect. Only UKIP in this election will make that argument. And the one issue that will go on dominating debate in this country, whether the other parties want it or not, was confirmed by the release of the immigration figures just yesterday. Do you remember that David Cameron said this government would reduce immigration into Britain to tens of thousands of people a year, and that we should judge him on his record? Well, the figures were nearly 300,000 a year. Nearly 300,000 a year. But once again, what we as UKIP have got to do is inject a positive note into this debate. We've made the arguments over the years about wage compression. We've made the arguments about the stress on the National Health Service A&E departments. We've made the arguments about the lack of primary school places. What we've now got to do is turn this round and get people to back something that is positive. Only by divorcing ourselves from the EU and by taking back control of our borders can we give the British people what overwhelmingly they would want and support, and we will campaign for this country to have an Australian point-style system to decide who should come and settle in our country. And we will make good arguments that for the savings we can make from the £55 million a day we pay to Brussels, we're the only party that can promise an extra £3 billion for the National Health Service without adding to our borrowing requirements. Again, it's UKIP being positive, and we must make the same argument that this government has run down Britain's defences to a level where, frankly, we are no longer being taken seriously on the international stage, and that it actually beggars belief that this Prime Minister can say that his proudest achievement is that we now give more as a percentage of our income to the foreign aid budget than any other country in the world. And what we're going to say is, let's spend some of that money that is used as an extension of foreign policy through the aid budget. Let's use some of that money to make sure that our armed forces are supported in the way that they deserve. And let's make the argument that having a good number of UKIP MPs in Westminster means that we will hold the feet to the fire of any government with their promises on reducing the deficit. Remember, this coalition was formed promising us that the deficit by the time this general election came along would be even. It would be zero. But it is still running at 90 billion sterling a year. And it's all well and good to talk about growth, to talk about the recovery, but actually it's a recovery that is being felt by the few and not by the many, and it is a recovery that is based on massive annual debt financing. When Mr Osborne became Chancellor of the Exchequer, our national debt was £850 billion. By the time May the 7th comes, our national debt will be £1.5 trillion. They have doubled the national debt, and I think we're the only party that will talk honestly about that in this general election campaign. We must never be scared of telling the voters the truth. We must never be scared of saying there are some tough choices to make. And one of the things that we campaign for and lobby for is the scrapping of a government project that started off with an estimate of £40 billion. We were then told it might be £45 billion, or £50 billion, or £55 billion, or £60 billion, or £65 billion, or maybe £70 billion. We don't think a penny should be committed to HS2. We simply can't afford it. And we will campaign and do whatever we can within the next Parliament to make sure that no more taxpayer subsidy goes to the wind energy business, which is pushing up bills for consumers and for businesses. But we also want a positive message about where Britain stands in the world. And what we have got to be saying is that to have tied ourselves so closely to our European neighbours, both politically, but also in terms of the fact that we've surrendered the ability to make our own trade deals, is for a country like ours, in a modern global economy, quite the wrong thing to have done. And what UKIP will campaign for this country to do is let's re-embrace the rest of the world, starting with the Commonwealth. We will stand in this election not just believing in Britain, but actually believing in ourselves. You know, I said to you a year ago at the Spring Conference that we would go on and win those European elections, and to the shock and horror of the establishment, we did so. We did so. We then had, I think, two of the most remarkable events that I've seen in my political lifetime, in that what Douglas Carswell and Mark Reckless did was not just to cross the floor to join a different party. We've seen lots of that over the years, haven't we? What we saw was those two gentlemen not just joining UKIP, but resigning their seats as MPs, saying as a matter of honour, it was the people in those constituencies to choose whether they made the right decision on the basis that it must always be the people, not the politicians, that are the bosses, and I commend both of them for what they've done. I know that the next 68 days are not going to be very easy for us. I know we're going to have the entire political establishment against us. I know that we have very few friends in the media, though I have to say we are very grateful for the support we've been getting from the Express newspaper group. And we thank you. It is not going to be easy, but we have a track record of exceeding expectations. We have a track record of surprising people. And I don't want to spend today speculating about what we may or may not do post-May the 7th, and I suggest that you in your campaigns don't spend too much time thinking about what happens post-May the 7th. What matters is that we succeed on May the 7th and that we get a good number of UKIP MPs over the line, and that in hundreds of constituencies in this country we have the opportunity to build ourselves from second position in those seats as the real opposition. And I certainly think that in the north of England this general election will see UKIP emerge as the opposition to the Labour Party virtually anywhere from Birmingham to Hadrian's Wall. I have to tell you, I am optimistic, I am upbeat, I am bullish. We are going to exceed all expectations. We're going to win lots of seats in this general election, and I hope very much to be leading this party, not just into this general election, but into all the elections to come. In years to come, we have elections in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland and London, and we are genuinely now the only truly national party in British politics. We have elected representation. We have elected representation in all four corners of the United Kingdom, and I believe we've done something that is even more remarkable than that. We have crossed the traditional class divides of British politics. We're all embracing political parties. I believe in Britain. I believe in you. I believe in UKIP. I believe we're going to score a famous victory on May the 7th. Thank you very much indeed.